Good evening and welcome. You're watching Business at 9 and I'm Nivedna Prabhu. Now, the Lok Sabha today witnessed a fiery debate on Operation Sindoor, India's military response to the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack that claimed 26 lives. Now, the 16-hour discussion saw sharp exchanges between the opposition and the ruling NDA, with the Congress leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister Modi at, of course, the centre of the storm. Rahul Gandhi launched a scathing attack on the government, alleging a lack of political will and operational freedom for the armed forces during Operation Sindoor. In fact, let's tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he claimed that the government restricted the Indian Air Force by not targeting Pakistan's military infrastructure, leading to the loss of aircraft. Gandhi further challenged Prime Minister Modi to publicly call out US President Donald Trump's claims of brokering the India-Pakistan ceasefire, daring him to say, and I quote the same, "Donald Trump, you are a liar," unquote. Now, if he had the courage of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Now, he accused the government of prioritizing Prime Minister Modi's image over national interest. In a robust rebuttal, Prime Minister Modi hailed Operation Sindoor as a testament to India's military prowess, asserting that the armed forces were given full operational freedom. In fact, he also emphasized that India's precision strikes destroyed 9 terrorist camps and neutralized over 100 terrorists, sending a clear message that nuclear blackmail would not deter India. Modi refuted claims of external pressure, particularly addressing Trump's ceasefire claims, revealing that he ignored calls from US Vice President J.D. Vance during the operation, stating if Pakistan attacks India, our response will be bigger. He also took a dig at the opposition, accusing them of politically looking at national security for headlines. So what does the fiery debate signify, and what are the takeaways from the Operation Sindoor debate? Well, to discuss that further, joining me on the show tonight is Madhavan Narayan, senior journalist, and Rashid Kidwai, visiting fellow Observer Research Foundation and political commentator. Good evening to the both of you. Great to have you back on the show once again. Thank you very much for taking the time out. And moreover, what we saw in the parliament today wasn't just a debate. It was clearly a political battle. While Prime Minister Modi says Pakistan begged India to stop, no world leader dared to intervene and nuclear blackmail is dead. We also heard what Rahul Gandhi is saying about Trump announcing the ceasefire, the military was restricted. So tonight we're clearly asking who's telling the truth, who's winning the Sindoor narrative, and is this a strategic victory or just political posturing? So Madhavan, let me come to you. You know, Trump says on multiple occasions that he brokered the ceasefire. Modi says no world leader intervened. Somebody is spinning the story. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I like the way you put it. Nivedna, can you hear me? Sorry, there was some audio issues. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Madhavan.
Yeah, actually, I like the way you put it, because that gave me a good cue to start something very interesting. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, was busy interpreting the silence in his own favor, whereas Rahul Gandhi was busy interpreting inaction as inactivity or non-action. So it's all about matching wits and trying to score brownie points, because both parties, both Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi, seem to be saying, I am more anti-Pakistan than thou. Although Mr. Modi spent considerably higher amount of time to equate or somewhat link Congress with Pakistan, which I think is a bit of a desperate political move. But Rahul Gandhi also did not really back down on that by saying that the army didn't do enough because it was hands were tied. It's also stretching the point. But net, I'm happy about the fact that overall, there are two things I want to say. One is that overall, after a very long time, we seem to have had a real debate in Parliament without too much interruptions, with sufficient length. So much so that I think they were overdoing the length part. There was so much of talk that we have to, this program is a good place to identify the signal to noise ratio, as it were. So I think some of the questions remained unanswered by the government. There is nothing substantial from the speeches that Mr. Modi gave after the Operation Sindoor debate. And there is very little that Rahul Gandhi or others said which has not been said before by the opposition parties over the past few weeks. But still, it's a good debate, brought all things onto a single forum in a single window sort of look. They could have kept the speech shorter, but some of the questions remain unanswered. This includes why India is tactically silent on the visible, on-record friendship between Pakistan's military chief, Pakistan's praise
Fair
for,
points, a long
from
debate,
US
but multiple aspects that were said as well, but many of it also remains unanswered. Madhavan, I had to interject you there. We're also going to get the team to just recheck your connection. We seem to be running into a technical issue, but on a lighter note, Madhavan, if you can still hear me, must have been a long debate in your opinion, but our newsrooms were pretty busy. So I guess it's a good day for us. Having said that, let's also listen to all the reactions that came in as far as the fiery opposition and of course the centre debate over Operation Sindoor is concerned.
The government of India thought they were fighting Pakistan. And when they arrived, they suddenly realized that they were not fighting Pakistan, they were fighting China and Pakistan.
ये वही प्रोपेगेंडा है जो सीमा पार से फैलाया गया है। कुछ लोग सेना द्वारा दिए गए तथ्यों की जगह पाकिस्तान के झूठ प्रचार को आगे बढ़ाने में जुटे हुए हैं।
यहाँ पे अगर दम है तो यहाँ पे प्रधानमंत्री बोल दे कि ट्रंप झूठ बोल रहे हैं।
इसके लिए साथियों हमने हमला रोका। अध्यक्ष जी, दुनिया के किसी भी नेता ने भारत के ऑपरेशन रोकने के लिए नहीं कहा।
All right, we heard what both sides had to say. But Rashid, let me come to you. Given the fact that Rahul says the ceasefire wasn't India's call, if that's true, in your opinion, does it punch a hole in Modi's sovereign action claim, or is the opposition, in a sense, stealing Modi's thunder, given the aspect of how this has been looked at for the past couple of weeks, especially after what transpired in Operation Sindoor?
So I think today's Lok Sabha debate makes it very clear we have a very, polarized democracy. There are people for it and against, and the entire debate, as my friend Sir Madhavan was saying, it was a very high quality debate, difficult to take sides actually, but and both of them were, so while the Congress and the opposition, they raised some very pertinent issues without getting answers. Mr. Modi and the entire Treasury benches, they indulge in, a lot of those kind of emotional appeal and, the, so to say, the follies of the past. And, and Mr. Modi and the entire BJP, Amit Shah, everyone, they put their, credibility at stake. They know they are very sure-footed that people of India have a very high respect and regard for Prime Minister, Home Minister, Defense Minister, etc. So they will not be taken in by the opposition's, questions and unanswered, questions. So therefore, they were very sure-footed. I was expecting some clear answers, but the answers never came. And this will remain in the realm of, speculation, which side did better or which side, performed badly. But high-quality debate, sticking to their respective position was the, total end of the day. It was like that.
Right, Mr. Kidwai, as you also look at it in that particular aspect where you say, what the opinions were in the parliament today as well. Madhavan, let me come back to you. Given the fact that what the Prime Minister also said, that Pakistan, in fact, begged to stop the strikes, is this a genuine sign of India's dominance? How do you look at that?
Yeah, it's very simple, Nivedna. We have to look at this in three aspects. Did Pakistan want a ceasefire? The answer is yes. But did they do it by directly coming to India? No, they brought in the US and then they wanted to convey and did so successfully that it was the US that did it. And where the opposition seems to have scored a brownie point is that India has not explicitly said, that what Trump is saying is wrong. Trump has been repeatedly claiming credit for which there has been denial for India, but the language of the denial has been found wanting, suggesting that, look at the context also. The fact that Pakistan's army chief, who just a few days before the Pahalgam attack was openly talking about Kashmir in a most vicious way against India, and then Pakistan get lauded as an anti-terrorist ally of the US by a serving US general. And then you have also the prospect of a lunch at the White House hosted for the army chief of Pakistan by Trump. So if you look at the context, some of what Mr. Modi's government claims does fall flat. But whether we have to see Trump's claims, because Donald Trump's reputation for, if I may use the language, for exaggerating and blabbering sometimes is sort of legion, well known. To that extent, I think the diplomatic silence by the Modi government could be interpreted as not worsening the diplomatic relations in a very tricky situation. But sovereignty is one thing, friendship is another thing. But silences will be interpreted. If Mr. Modi can interpret the silence of 100 and odd nations for not saying anything against India, the opposition reserves the right to interpret the silences of the Modi government. But it's
and that's perhaps points. What they capitalized on for so long, Madhavan. Brownie points.
Yeah,
is that the way you're looking at it? Of course, I'm going to come back to the both of you as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, it's a brownie point, and we'll have to see whether the government made a very strong claim that this will serve as a deterrence to Pakistan. We'll have to wait and see. The simple fact is that the government does deserve credit for crossing a certain line to at least send a loud message, and also being very restrained in their attacking the point. But we'll have to in the
approach. Yeah.
The geopolitical context of Chinese arms being supplied to Pakistan and US, Pakistan has done the near impossible thing of having both China and US on its own side, at least by and large in the global image game. To that extent, India needs to go that extra mile. And as one of the MPs said, everything is, as somebody said, it's not just about military operations. Some of these things involve diplomacy, and some of the questions remain unanswered on the diplomatic front.
Okay, and fair enough. While you put that into context with the way that we are looking at how this is panned out, just for our viewers to better understand that, let's listen into what the Prime Minister had to say on that front, and also given the fact that why he said that nuclear blackmail will not work anymore.
और जब इतना कड़ा प्रहार हुआ, पाकिस्तान ने कभी सोचा तक नहीं था, तब जाकर के पाकिस्तान ने फोन करके डीजीएमओ के सामने फोन करके गुहार लगाई, बस करो, बहुत मारा, अब ज्यादा मार झेलने की ताकत नहीं है। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, यहां पर विदेश नीति को लेकर के भी काफी बातें कही गई हैं। दुनिया के समर्थन को लेकर के भी काफी बातें कही गई हैं। मैं आज सदन में कुछ बातें पूरी स्पष्टता से कह रहा हूं। दुनिया में किसी भी देश ने भारत को अपनी सुरक्षा में कार्रवाई करने से रोका नहीं है। संयुक्त राष्ट्र 193 कंट्रीज सिर्फ 3 देश 193 कंट्री में सिर्फ 3 देश ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान पाकिस्तान के समर्थन में बयान दिया था। ओनली 3 कंट्रीज। पाकिस्तान की न्यूक्लियर धमकी को हमने झूठा साबित कर दिया। भारत ने सिद्ध कर दिया कि न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेलिंग अब नहीं चलेगा और न ही ये न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेलिंग के सामने भारत झुकेगा।
All right, we heard what the Prime Minister had to say on those multiple aspects. But Mr. Kidbai, does this nuclear, statement build Modi's strongman brand, or could Congress flip the narrative, in your opinion? What do you make of these statements that have been made in the Parliament today?
So I think when Prime Minister Modi or the entire government talks about Pakistan, and that is where a lot of confusion comes in. Pakistan is a sworn enemy. It supports, harbors terrorism. There is no doubt about it. If we were going to destroy terrorism, then how we stopped, in the sense, in the context of ceasefire, there was no third-party intervention. Then how, we could, we trusted Pakistan DGMO, whoever had come with a white flag or with a, begging, etc. So that remains little unanswered. And the fact that Mr. Modi and the entire government is very quick to club, whatever Pakistan is doing, and some kind of nexus understanding or a kind of quid pro quo with the Indian opposition. And that is something little problematic, because if there is a sort of even a iota of truth in this, then government of the day must act upon. It cannot be just a rhetorical thing that, Congress party, Rahul is a, Lashkar-e-Rahul, and all kind of things that have been said. These are serious allegations. If somebody, a common citizen, if somebody posts something in favor of Pakistan in the social media, then that person many times is booked, and there is a sort of legal action is taken place. Whereas in this, like what happened in Karnataka Assembly, somebody repeatedly said Pakistan Zindabad. There were cases against such elements and individuals, rightly so. Then how is it that the opposition is allowed to get away? And that is something of very serious matter. The government must clarify if opposition is indeed indulging in any anti-national activity vis-a-vis Pakistan or China, then it must substantiate and punish. It just cannot be saying 11 years in office and you keep saying that, the Congress, caters to Pakistani interests, etc. This is, I think, highly irresponsible and uncalled for.
As you pointed out, given the way you're looking at this, Madhavan, would you look at it the same way, or do you have a different purview of the same?
No. In fact, I'm glad Rashid raised that point. I was not thinking on that issue, but on another issue, I felt very much like Rashid did. For instance, on defense self-reliance, Mr. Modi said the Congress did nothing about self-reliance in defense. But we have the Prithvi, Agni, and the BrahMos programs running for decades and very successful. It's almost as if, seemed as if Mr. Modi was insulting Dr. Abdul Kalam's memory, because the entire program that he led towards the nuclear missile program as well as the nuclear tests was completely self-reliant. Where we were not self-reliant is in things like artillery guns and night vision equipment. I'm not a defense expert, but there's a long laundry list of equipment that India has had to import. But, it's a catch-22 situation. You have to be prepared enough and therefore import. At the same time, irrespective of whether it's BJP or Congress in power, the self-reliance mechanism has been slower than it has been in the manufacturing side of defense. But, to equate Congress and negate 40, 50 years of sincere work by our scientists is something which was, I thought, was below the belt attack. And that was a bit responsible also. Also, the question that ultimately we still want to know whether the Rafale jets were lost or not because the Air Force did anything wrong, and also because some damage is part of any defense conflict. But we also want to hold France accountable in case there's a problem with the Rafale jet is theft. That requires an amount of transparency which seems to have been lacking in this whole thing. We at least want to know whether it was the jet's fault, just like we are probing the AI 171 crash with the point of view of whether it was Boeing or whether it was a human error. We need to know the same thing about Rafale also. To that extent, although the debate quality was good, we are short of some of the signals that we were looking for, Nivedana, especially the channels like ET Now, We are trying to look beyond the obvious and the loud claims, to see what is really going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely. And like you pointed out, accountability and transparency is also, required. But Madhavan, let me come back to you. In fact, this is to the both of you. Given the fact that Prime Minister Modi hails the Make in India weapons in Operation Sindoor, but are we looking at genuine capability, or would you question the timing? How do you look at that? We'll also try playing that out. But how do the both of you look at this?
I think when Prime Minister talks about these things, we should take it on a face value, and that is very, of course, as a nation, we are doing a lot of good work. But then somehow, few things don't gel. You see, the fact of the matter is, Prime Minister has taken a very strong position against Pakistan. As a nation, we should. But how is it that we are playing cricket with them again in September? So these are the questions that need to be asked. Nevertheless, I have covered Parliament and seen a lot of debates since post 2014. Many debates where, of course, Prime Minister was a key speaker. It would be in favor of, I don't have data, but I would say in my own perception, the Prime Minister would gain 80% of that brownie points if there were to be. But this time around, the opposition has also scored well, just not Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi, but Akhilesh Yadav and several other, speakers. They were Asaduddin Owaisi, I thought, was one of the very good speakers in this debate. So suddenly that gap between opposition and Mr. Modi and his oratory skills is bridging. And if it is, 55-45, I don't know in whose favor, but these things are going to politically hurt Mr. Modi and BJP in the time to come.
Right, Mr. Kidba. In fact, there was a lot to be talking about, just like how Madhavan pointed out, it was a long debate. I wish we had more time to be looking at how this panned out in the Parliament, but I'm afraid that that's all that we have the time for. But I want to thank the both of you for taking the time out, joining us here, and of course looking at it in terms of the way that you have as to what has transpired today. Will those answers come? Well, only time is going to tell us. But for the moment, we leave it at that. We're shifting our focus to more that we're tracking here on Business at 9. Now, the beginning of the month often marks key financial activities, salary credits, bill payments, beg your pardon, and planning expenses. But just as we plan for our expenses, it's equally important to plan for our investments. To encourage this habit, SBI Mutual Fund, in collaboration with Times Network, is launching a nationwide investor awareness initiative, Bharat Nivesh, Behtar Nivesh, Behtar Kal. In fact, the objective of this initiative is to promote the habit of consistent investing among Indians, helping them secure their financial future. So as part of the campaign, we're observing 4th of every month as a monthly reminder to ensure that you start your mutual fund SIP or ensure your existing SIP continues. So go on, set your reminder to invest consistently and stay committed to your goals for the financial well-being of you and your loved ones. ET Now, Leaders of Tomorrow is back with season 13. Yes, this is India's longest running television show dedicated to MSMEs. And this season, Leaders of Tomorrow is spotlighting the spirit of Indian entrepreneurs through the theme Agility, Ambition, Ascent. Witness how bold visionaries are adapting to change and reaching new heights. Don't miss Leaders of Tomorrow season 13 starting 4th of August, Monday to Friday at 7:30 p.m. only on ET Now.